Hey everyone, welcome to Star Wars Collected. I'm Jonathan. The day I'm recording this is Make Solo 2 Happen Day. I was a big Solo fan, still a big Solo fan. So what I have for you today is, you may have seen this guy in the last video that we did, unboxing him. We're gonna go through him, set him up, and then I also have a mystery brown box here that we're gonna get into as well. All right, collectors, real quick before we get into all that stuff, I thought I'd show you a couple of my favorite Han Solo pieces that I have. I have a Medal of Yavin here, which I suppose could also be Luke Skywalker's, but I like to think it's Han Solo, especially on Make Solo 2 Happen Day. I have some metal dice here, reminiscent of the ones that he had on the Falcon. I have a Crimson Dawn ring that I picked up at Star Wars Celebration. This is something that Dryden Voss would have had. And I have this Gentle Giant Tauntaun statue. I also have the Luke Skywalker one. These are some very old pieces for me and some favorites for sure. And I also have this all metal DL44. Feels great in the hand. May not be the world's most accurate thing in the world, but I really love how good it feels when you hold it. And last but not least is I have an Empire Strikes Back Han Solo costume. This is actually one that I have worn a couple of times on Halloween. And you know, once you put it on, you feel like Han Solo and you don't want anyone to tell you the odds. So we're gonna start out here with Darth Maul. I did an unboxing of this in my last video, so I'm gonna spare you that. Go ahead and move him out of the way. It's like a baking show where the cake's already done, right? So here's the box for him. And what we'll do today is actually bring him out, maybe with his head this time, and actually set him up a little bit. So inside the box here, we have Maul himself with his awesome robot legs. Set him up right here. And he comes with a whole bunch of different hands. And here are some of the accessories. So we will take those out and take a look at what each one of these are. I think I already have an idea of how I want to set him up. You know, he was only in that movie for a couple minutes, so you know, you could make up your own pose, your own story, but I think I'm going to stick with something that was sort of more on screen. So got a little Maul in a chair here. There's a little Kira hologram. This I love. I love that he has the lightsaber that he had in Rebels with him. That's so cool. And this I thought was interesting. This is actually an entire additional arm with the lightsaber in it. Not quite sure why they did it that way than not giving you other hands, but that's what they decided to do this time. And you also have this really cool Crimson Dawn necklace that you can put around his neck as well. This foam piece, by the way, it has all the hands in it. So you can see a couple different grips there. Really big base. I've got a number of Hot Toys, and this is, I think, the biggest base I've ever had for a figure in this scale. Here is his little seat. You know, maybe it wasn't a throne. When you really look at it up close, it's not all that impressive. He has a articulating clip thing here, and then this is more for action poses. I have one, I know, for, at least for my Mandalorian Beskar figure, that articulates and helps hold him in a certain position. You have a couple different lightsaber motion type things. What I like is that these actually have more red, more color on one edge than they do on another edge. So if you were to, you know, position these something like this, it really would give that effect that he is moving through the air or something like that. Here are just the normal lightsaber blades. These are the ones that we will be using. Now that that's out of the way, let's take a look at this guy. So, you know, we've got this chair that we want to use. So we'll be using that. And we're going to put him in the seated position because that's how he's seen in the movie. All right. Okay, so in the movie, he brings his lightsaber in from off screen and ignites it on hologram. It's so dramatic. There's no reason whatsoever for him to be doing this. You know, he's just on a conference call. So imagine, you know, we've all been through these Zoom calls over the last year. So imagine you're on a Zoom call and someone tells you something and you decide to light up your lightsaber on there as if that's going to intimidate them or make your point stronger. So I don't know, maybe I should try that. So let's see, he should probably put his hand here on his thigh in some way. I think in the movie he's leaning forward a little bit more. Let's see here, we get him down. There, I think, is going to be my setup for Maul. I don't know if I'll end up using these little hologram figures in some way. I like the Kira one. The Kira one's pretty cool. So maybe she'll hang out over here on the side. So there's Maul for now. All right, so next up, we're going to switch over to this figure, our mystery brown box, still in the shipper here. Just got this in over the weekend, but thought I'd open it up with you guys. You know, like we've talked about before, anytime this logo is on the front of the box, you know there's happiness inside. This one is labeled SLSWHS, and then it has MT in parentheses. So think about that while I open this guy up for the first time. All right, so did you guess it? Did you figure it out? It is Han Solo as a mud trooper. I may have mentioned this in an earlier video. When the Solo came out, I wasn't really into collecting this scale of figures, more life-size stuff. Putting a mud trooper bucket on my wall back there is definitely still a bucket list item, if you will. And this guy, though, I thought was so cool when I saw it for the first time. Of course, then it was too late to actually order from Hot Toys. Secondary market has been really, really hot, but I got this guy for a deal. And actually I saw another one on eBay today go for just a few dollars more than I paid for it. So for those of you out there who really, really want a mud trooper, it's slowly coming down from what I can tell. At least right now it's in a little bit of a cold streak. So I haven't opened this guy up before, so I'm very excited to look at him with you guys. You know, there's somewhat of a joke that Star Wars is always adding a new trooper with every movie, and it's kind of like, where was that guy before? But man, they have been killing it. I think the mud trooper is super cool. I think the death trooper is super cool. You know, you have the shore trooper. That is one of the coolest designs I've ever seen. So here we go. In box here. Looking pretty good, Mr. Solo. So this is a little bit more of a conventional container, unlike the Maul one that I opened up before and in my former video, which had a whole bunch of different boxes and slips, and you know, it looks really cool. But in the grand scheme of things, smaller boxes is a good thing for my storage abilities. So, all right, where do we start? Let's start with Mr. Solo himself. There we go. Alden Ehrenreich playing Solo after Harrison Ford. Looking pretty good. There's a lot of deco applied to this. This little rain slicker is made out of sort of a slick material, so that's cool. It's a different fabric than I've felt before in any of these toys. A little bit of pinning. I love this red bicep here on him. I like the reusing of a lot of things we've seen before. This is reminiscent of, you know, General Veers or something like that, being in the AT-AT in Empire Strikes Back. This down here looks like Shore Trooper shin guards to me. This Paldron might be original. I don't recognize that. Otherwise, these sort of just look like Stormtrooper pieces. If I look over my corner, or look over my shoulder here, looks like Stormtrooper pieces. But just a really cool figure. Very cool. His base is, believe it or not, it's muddy. And there's actually a very cool, the way it's done here where it says Star Wars Han Solo. There's a Millennium Falcon behind his name. It's going to be a little bit hard to see on camera here, but looks pretty cool. So we've got some Mimban dirt there. We've got this here as a stand with little hooks. Okay, so he comes a couple different ways here, and I was trying to do a little bit of research online before this came, before I came to film this with you guys. So this hair comes off. Sorry, buddy. And you can replace that with another set of hair that's flat on top, and then his helmet will sit on top of that. So at first I kind of thought maybe he came with multiple head sculpts that you could swap in and out, but this is an interesting, maybe more efficient way of doing it. So you can see the magnet on top there. Okay, so let's put his hair on top. That looks super weird. And we'll put this helmet on as well, just to get an idea of what that looks like. You know what, today is Make Solo 2 Happen Day, so we're not going to completely cover up Han and make him look like he could just be any run-of-the-mill mud trooper. So we will figure this out together here. So I'm actually going to pop this helmet back off, and I'm going to put this rebreather piece around him. There are 2 holes back here on top of this backpack area that these guys plug into. So I'm going to go ahead and put him on the stand here. These goggles actually are not functional, which is somewhat surprising for Hot Toys. Looking through there, it is just a piece of molded plastic on the back. So not that they needed to be functional, but you know, the detail that we just looked at a moment ago, I'm a little bit surprised that they didn't go all the way and make those more that way. So I think I'm just going to set this guy up kind of like this. So the goggles are on top, so that when it's on him, you can still see Han's eyeballs. So let's get a gun in his hand here. What's a mud trooper? What's an infantryman without his blaster? So we're gonna pop a hand out here. Gloves are very cool. They have a little bit of texture on them, a little strap. And we'll put a trigger finger on them. Put that in like so. And we'll put his hand so he's kind of coddling that strap a little bit. That is it for Han. Before I show you my final reveal on the poses that I did find 2 more Solo things in my collection. What I have here is actually what I would consider to be Lando's costume from Return of the Jedi, but you'll remember that Beckett wore this when they were on Kessel. So I pulled that out real quick. This was a 3D printed piece that I finished. And then I also have the helmet of Infus Nest here, who I am a huge fan of. And I would love to see more of that. I met Aaron Kellerman when I was in Star Wars Celebration in Chicago. But I just love this helmet. This piece was also 3D printed and finished by myself. So a very cool piece, would love to see more. And lastly here, I have this Range Trooper helmet. This I also 3D printed, and it is most of the way done at this point. I need to go through, add some greeblies to it, and then age it way up. But the Range Trooper is one of the coolest designs we've seen in a long time, and I hope that we see more of it in the future. All right, collectors, I went ahead and took a couple minutes off camera here to kind of repose these guys. I put our Solo Mud Trooper, more of that classic Han Solo pose from the press photos of A New Hope, and I went Maul in a pose that's a little bit more similar to what we saw him in the movie. You can really see his robot legs here, and there's a little Kira down there. So I really like these figures. I really dig them. I think they're super cool. This Mud Trooper design I love, and this guy looks just as intimidating in person as what I thought he did in the photos. It kind of inspired me to purchase him. Why don't you guys hop down in the comments? First of all, let me know what you're collecting right now. I'd really love to hear from you guys and what's getting you excited in the collectors community. Also want to know, do you want to make Solo 2 happen like I do? I love the first one. I'd love to see more of them. I'd love to see the Kira continued, her character. I'd love to see where they end up. I'd love to see Jabba and Chewbacca and Han on their first meetup. So I think there's a lot of stories to be told there still. If you like content like this, please subscribe. Also check me out on Instagram. I'm posting new stuff there all the time. See you guys.